What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of At Home with Mark. Today is season 11, episode 14, and I'm just going to get into a friend foxhole today. So I have my buddy Frankie G, who is originally from the Baltimore area, but now living in Texas, right?
Yes, sir. Up in Waco.
Yeah. And then that happened kind of in the beginning of the pandemic, right?
Yeah. It's well, I've always wanted to live down here. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
my influences came from the area, and I was doing some work at different studios from like 2008 to 2014 about. I was doing some work at some studios in Austin and fell in love with the area, but that's all changed.
Mm.
That's a
How
whole nother
so?
world now. A lot of the studios that I worked at have dried up, sold.
Oh.
The tech industry moved in and kind of killed a lot of that stuff. A lot of the producers I had worked with went to Nashville and out to LA. Uh,
Mm.
a couple in Mississippi, actually.
Really?
um, yeah, because they could buy land cheap, put a studio that's remote with a like a nice apartment for the bands, and then they could be kind of unplugged from the world for a little bit while
Hmm.
they're creating. So um but it's still awesome. There's still tons of great players.
Yeah. How far is Waco from Austin?
uh just under 2 hours. It
Okay.
depends on traffic on 35. um
Okay. And then what about Dallas from Waco?
Dallas is about the same. I'm about 2 hours from Fort Worth.
Okay.
So I'll go and do a church gig every once in a while up in Arlington, right outside of Fort Worth, from time to time, filling in for a friend of mine. But yeah, so I can work, anywhere when I'm in town.
Okay.
It's literally Central Texas.
That's crazy, man. Because it's such a big state. It's like you can drive for hours and hours, hours, and you're still in Texas.
Oh yeah,
So that's crazy. I always thought that way about Pennsylvania too. Like Pennsylvania is just oddly shaped. It just
yeah.
feels like it goes on forever kind of thing, but not as big as Texas.
No,
Um,
and it's a 2 hour gig's close.
That's crazy, dude. I mean, coming from where you were here, where you can drive 30 minutes, like 15 minutes, and
Right. Yeah.
be at your gig, was that like a culture shock for you to have to like, oh, that means that's gas. That means my time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a little bit. And the pay structure is way different than in Maryland, just based on the economy, the local economy, I should say. So, some restructuring had to go on and figuring things out. Like that's the part of this industry that never, will change, is the change. So,
Right.
but with Cowboy Mouth, I'm home not that often on weekends. So, you
Right.
know, they keep me pretty busy.
Yeah. Are you guys doing still doing a lot of like fly dates on the weekends and stuff?
Almost every weekend. We only have one in December because unfortunately our New Year's gig fell through.
Mm.
But we're playing with 12 Stones in Biloxi, Mississippi, the 19th, right? Yeah, I think it's the 19th of December.
Okay.
Um, and it's just a one off, so I'll fly in the day of and fly out the next day. And I have
Dude,
2 gigs on that Saturday as soon as I touch down. So
dude, you're a madman. I just like when I see your posts like on Instagram and you're like leaving at like 3 in the morning and like just getting to that's nuts, dude. I could never do that. I'm not. I'm first of all, I travel like shit when I go to the airport or whatever. I'm like, I hate flying. I'm not scared of flying or anything.
right.
I just like don't like being in germy airports. I'm not like Howie Mandel level like germaphobe, but like I'm like, yuck.
Yeah,
Um,
you learn all those little habits, that I bring hand sanitizer with me, and I go to the what is it, Bed Bath and Beyond or whatever and get the spray stuff that smells really good too.
Hell
So,
yeah.
instead of that really alcohol-y kind of like Purell or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, there's that. I've had some interesting flights with there's some stories there. People. I had one guy that he really probably shouldn't have been on the plane. He was that drunk, and he fell asleep with his head on my shoulder, and I was just like, middle. He was in the middle seat. Whatever,
right. You being you're like, it's fine.
Just get me to where I'm going. I did wake him up when he started touching my leg. And I was like, no, we're not having this, man.
Oh my God, dude. Little does he know, like, you are a sweetheart of a person, but like your boundaries have a line, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. Well, let's backtrack really quick because I don't want to skip over what I normally do here. I don't want to treat you different just because we're friends. In a good way. Because like we've never really sat and talked for an hour, just you and me. So like I was looking forward to this being like a really like let's get to know each other beyond what we know, the surface layer shit.
Yeah.
But like Frankie, like what's the earliest like musical memory that you have?
Man, so I started playing guitar at 3.
Really?
Yeah. And
Jeez.
one of the things, like, I grew up in New Jersey, and before I moved to Maryland around high school, and so like the real formative years. But my mom was friends with a lot of the local musicians in the area, and they would get together and jam in the basement. So like I would sit there and watch these guys that some of them had the big teased out, Bon Jovi hair because we were like a couple neighborhoods over from Bon Jovi themselves.
Yeah.
And then you'd have the guys that are kind of the grunge looking dudes. Like, so I had this big mix, but all of them just getting together and playing music together. It didn't matter what style you came from, it was just this cool thing. And at that young of an age, it sparked something for me that I wanted to play. And, I always had I had drums first, and my mom got tired of that real quick. I still have a picture somewhere of like me with my little drum kit and my Heathcliff punching bag. You remember those ones that had the sand in the bottom?
Of course I do, yeah.
And but yeah, I had a Heathcliff one.
Nice.
And I'm making the crazy drummer face, but that's where it started. I remember that so vividly. And that's when I got my first guitar, was after I showed interest on that. And some of those bands, when I was like 6 or 7 years old, they would let me I would plug in and sit in with them.
Mm-hmm.
So like, the one of the guitar players, I still have the wah pedal back there somewhere. But I was walking to kindergarten, walking to the bus stop, and I found the wah pedal on my way to the bus stop. Well, I picked it up because I knew what it was, and took it to school, came home. The guy had left it on his car.
Oh, man.
And when he came to pick it up, I was playing it. And he said, keep it.
Oh, wow.
And I still have it. And it's like a 69.
Dang.
Wah pedal.
That's dope.
Thomas Jordan Company. So like it's pretty awesome.
That's killing.
But that really, that whole experience got me going. It sparked the fire. And the fire got lost a little bit for sports, as you grow up. And I found I really liked ice hockey out of all the sports. We had a family soccer game when I was probably around 7, probably around 8. and my stepdad and stepbrother went to kick the ball at the same time, and I heard my brother's leg break. So I said no more soccer and decided to play ice hockey.
Yeah, which is a safer sport.
At least there's more padding, you know?
Right.
But so guitar was always there, took a back seat a little bit. And but around 13, I started playing parties and stuff and getting paid. And I was like, that's when I found all my real heroes that I have now. Because they were the session guys, and I started reading about them, and I was like, that blew my mind.
Well, what's crazy about you is I feel like you cover so much ground, like genre wise. Like anytime I saw you play, like you could pull off playing a country tune, but then like you did a night where you covered Nevermind. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like when you were growing up listening to music, was that the case? Is that every single genre of music was in front of you?
It really was. My grandparents were from New York and Italian, so like there was a lot of Sinatra in their house. But my grandfather, when he came back from Korea, found a love for country music. So those late night cassette box sets that you could buy from those infomercials, I would take, because they would buy the country one, they would buy the crooner one, the 50s, so I would just take all those tapes and listen to stuff and then record the songs that I liked on the cassette and have my mixtape. And it would be everything from Gene Autry and that kind of like old country to my mom was a Led Zeppelin fan, as well as all the 80s hair bands. So I would have that on there. I would have Sinatra and, the whole Rat Pack and all that stuff. So like, and then I found the Beatles. I had birthday money to spend and went to Sam Goody in the mall. And I bought my albums that day solely on the album cover.
Of course.
This is before Nevermind came out. I bought Bleach. I bought And Justice for All, the Beatles' White Album, and Dwight Yoakam.
Okay.
And still love all those records. But and then Richie Sambora, just by way of being, I knew him with the hat before I knew Stevie Ray Vaughan. But he talked about Stevie Ray Vaughan, and then I saw that Unplugged, with Stevie just by himself playing the 12-string acoustic. And that was, I got really into the blues through that. And but how about you, man? You always had this great blues and soul thing that you would do. And I would come over to Cilantro and see you guys play. And I always remember the first time I saw you, I forget who, Christian told me to come see you. And sitting there with the red amp, with the Vox grill.
Right behind me, actually.
Nice.
Still.
And that telly with the, you can call it the Tedeschi telly now, but it was the the green, the surf green with the
tortoiseshell pickguard.
Guard, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Man, I fell in love with your playing and the sound and the vibe of everything then.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, well, don't turn this on me. This is about you. But but yeah, no, I mean, I think what's interesting is like I think we grew up at a really cool time, because if you think about it, we grew up at the turn of the tide of a major tidal wave, like in terms of the hair thing. Well, going from Zeppelin to hair metal to grunge, there was a big sea change that happened right in front of our eyes. And like a very pivotal moment, almost like to the point of like when people first saw the Beatles come over here.
Yeah.
Maybe not that big, but kind of like our generation's Beatles era.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've had this talk with anybody, But I've had this talk with a few friends about that time period, looking at the 60s and seeing it change to the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and the Who and Zeppelin and Sabbath too. When I look at that turn from Poison and those style of bands to Nirvana and those bands, like I try to, in conversation, I was like, man, that Nirvana for me is the equivalent of the Beatles to a point, just as far as before people start hating on it. It's like
Right.
what they did as far as here's short to the point, good hooky songs. Stone Temple Pilots, they were kind of at least with Eric's drumming, kind of, and the DeLeo brothers, kind of that Zeppelin kind of thing. Alice in Chains and Soundgarden were like the Who meet Black Sabbath, because that dark, super distorted guitars and heavy, sludgy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And who am I? Oh, Pearl Jam.
Of course. Yeah,
I kind of put into that. Maybe I'll put them like a little bit of Rolling Stones meet, at least in that time period, the Allman Brothers. Because there was this element of the two guitar players that are very well versed in what they do and complete opposite of what they do. And they really complement each other on lines. There might not be the guitarmony kind of stuff going on, but they would take songs and stretch them and bring them back. And there was something magical about that. And, but yeah, seeing all these different bands in the 90s, I was kind of like, I've had conversations where if you could put these older 60s bands and compare them as you go, you can see that tide where people are, here's the songwriters.
Right.
And
yeah.
the pivotal moments in music that really stand out.
It's interesting too, because, you hear, well, Chris Cornell talked a lot, like ad nauseum, about how important Mother Love Bone was, like pre Nirvana.
Yeah.
In terms of bridging the gap between the switch from like the hair thing into like something that's different.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people forget about Mother Love Bone as part of that equation. Like I think a lot of people just immediately go to Nirvana.
Right.
But like all those cats were all starting around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting to kind of see what evolved. And that is why I love Pearl Jam so much, is probably because amongst that scene, it seemed more in that Beatles, like good songs, like really good melodies, really interesting harmony, like amongst the other bands, minus Soundgarden. Like when Super Unknown hit, that's an album that will forever be in the books in terms of like their grunge era. I mean, it's so smart, it's so hip. Everything on that record is amazing. The way it was recorded, everything.
Yeah.
But when you hear a band like Pearl Jam and you look at the arc of Pearl Jam, it's hard to compare, because if Kurt was still alive, well, who knows what they would have been doing. But like the amount of songs and the intelligent writing, it was just a cut above. For me, it was a cut above Alice in Chains. It was a cut above, because I think these guys were pulling from Zeppelin. They were pulling from the Who. They were pulling from all these cool influences.
Yeah.
In a way that made their own sound. But I'm so grateful to have grown up playing guitar as a young kid at that time.
Absolutely, man. I have stretched out so many tapes when I was a kid, just hitting rewind and play and rewind and play, trying to figure parts out.
Me too.
Mr. Mustache by Nirvana is the one that really, I remember that one when I was probably 7, trying to figure that out.
Is that off of Bleach?
That's off of Bleach, yeah.
I haven't listened to that record in a long time, dude.
I still use that song for finger exercises for students.
Oh, really? Cool, man.
It's a weird change between strings, and it's a good alternate picking and fretting exercise.
I'll check it out tomorrow because I it's funny because that record, like I listened to Nevermind obviously a lot, but like for some reason Incesticide was like always on. Like I always was listening, like preferred to listen to that record. I mean, it was a
Yeah,
more punk rock record in a way.
absolutely. Yeah, and
You
well,
know,
I mean, I think with the drummer from the Melvins on some of the tracks, and there was just a different fire. Chad Channing was great. He got the band going with Kurt and Chris. So like and Dave Grohl said something about it in their acceptance speech. Like he wouldn't be standing on the stage if it wasn't for Chad Channing, and nobody talks about Chad Channing.
right.
You know, and it's funny you listen to those albums because the recording quality is not great, but it's cool.
Right. Yeah.
And
Let me ask you this, because I had this thought the other day. I just went to the beach this past weekend, and when I was coming home, I was thinking a lot about this
okay.
in terms of demos versus going into a studio and polishing a turd. You know what I mean? Like I kind of am thinking more and more these days that people just want something real. They
Yeah.
want to feel some sort of connection to the band, and they want to feel that they're almost like the absence of a red light being on.
Right.
And I started thinking about, like, does it make more sense these days, even if the recording isn't as good as it would be going to a local studio, to just get your band in a room and just go into the box, like record into Pro Tools or Luna or whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
but like capture that basement practice, because nothing sounds better than a band rehearsal in a basement.
I agree. I wish I had a basement here. There's no basements in Texas.
I know. But you know what I mean, though? It's like
Yeah.
it feels like there could be a more authentic, genuine way that the music comes off
Well,
in a
it's
demo
that raw
environment.
energy thing that, it's hard to capture on tape, especially now. Or I say tape, but digital tape, whatever you want to call it. It's the industry now is so weird as far as we've had so many years of things being perfect. Everything's to the grid. Everything, I've played on so many sessions that it's just like, it's this. Everybody has the click in the ear, or I'm doing stuff from home, which I love for the convenience of it. I can get up and be in my pajamas and work.
Mhm.
And, I have all the gear behind me. Plus, there's more guitars over there. There's more amps in storage. Like,
You got a lot of stuff.
So, but all that to say, there's nothing better, like you were saying, of that group fleshing stuff out in a room together, getting sweaty, just, making it happen, making it real. Somebody needs to do that now.
And have fun. Like,
Yeah.
I think maybe about 2 years ago, I had like this epiphany of like, and I'm sure you've had this too, Frankie, like where you get like, you start to get a little bit worn out. Like you start to feel like you're in a rut, you're doing the same goddamn thing, and it's just not fun anymore. And then I think at some point, obviously, you're different than me. And that's something I always respected about you, is you hustle and you work and you make music your living, and that's what you do. That's who you are. And I never ever took that leap. I felt like I always had to have, a steady job and like gig and like do the weekend warrior thing.
Right.
But there's part of me that at some point, like 2 years ago, when I felt burnt out, I was like, I got to make this fun again. Because
Mhm.
if it's not fun again, if I don't feel like 12-year-old Mark picking up my guitar when I get home from school, what's the point of doing this anymore?
Right.
Because at that point, I'm just like phoning it in, and that's not fair to me, and it's not fair to my audience.
Yeah, yeah, that connection with the audience. Is that when you went down to Nashville and did
Yeah.
some stuff?
Yes. Yep.
I love what came out of that.
Yeah. In fact, like before that, probably like 2016, That's probably when I met Joey Landreth, around then, but, like, I was close to just not playing anymore. Like, I was, like, not having fun. I felt super burnt out. I didn't have any direction. I felt like I was playing the same notes all the time. And he kinda saved my musical life and was like, "Bro, like, just try slide guitar, like, try doing something different, like, put yourself out of your comfort zone for a while," and that totally did it. It whipped me into shape.
Yeah.
But then the Nashville thing was like I wanna have fun, you know, kind
Yeah.
of, so.
That's awesome. I remember, talking to Justin Kruger when you guys were getting ready to head down and do that kinda
Mhm.
do that thing, and I loved, like, when you went from, like, was it Mark Hopkins and the
The
hotel?
hotel. Mhm.
Yeah, to that when you were dropping down to C and stuff and doing this, that inspired me to try some different things because every guitar player or musician, I think, goes through cycles. When I start getting stagnant in my playing, I start going back to horn players a lot.
Mhm.
Listening to,
Like who? Like, who are you listening to?
I mean, Miles Davis is always up there. Coltrane is always up there. Cannonball Adderley. Kind of the your Mount Rushmore of horn players, and David Sanborn,
Oh, yeah.
and like the Brecker Brothers stuff. I was in, yeah.
Yeah.
I was into that stuff, and when I was playing with Classified Frequency, Matt would have us play some of that. We have these pop rock tunes that are very Marvelous Three and like big hooky choruses, but he would write a solo section, and if he didn't send you a chord chart and you were just listening to it and listen to the drums and everything, there's over the beat fills like Dennis Chambers where it's like, wait, I lost one, and it's
Yeah.
and these big changes and really, really complex and thought out, beautiful parts that there's a lot of tension, and it keeps building and building and building, and finally it explodes into this beautiful harmony on the top. So,
Mhm.
um, but that kind of stuff has always helped me, and I learned that in high school because I auditioned for the jazz band. I was starting to get into that stuff, and I didn't get it. I could read chord charts, but I could not read melody lines.
Mhm.
So I took lessons for a summer and learned how to read. Not only did I learn how to read, but I made it a point to learn how to transcribe on site. So I could read an E flat part, but play it where it needed to be,
Mhm.
on site. So I would ask for the score instead of just the guitar line,
Right.
and
Look at you, man.
I still didn't get in. Uh, but I'm glad I did that because
Yeah.
I went to Berkeley for 2 semesters and I learned a lot there as well. I was very fortunate for all the education, and I started gigging and 4 or 5 nights a week when I was 16
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
because I started loading gear for Never Never, and those guys, the bass player at the time's Angelo Camarata, and he would take me down to some huge CD place right by Atomic Music in when Atomic Music was in College Park.
Oh, right.
And he would go, well, you need this, you need this, you need this, you need this. And it was like Weather Report and Return to Forever and Mahavishnu and all, the stuff that I wouldn't have found myself.
Mhm.
And that got me into that deeper side of the music and not getting bored with stuff. But I still do because, I mean, on the drive home today, I put on Insecticide.
Nice. There
And
you
it's
go.
like, you go back to what you love. And
It's true, dude. I'm back. I'm so deep in the fish weeds right now again. Like, I'm so deep in it, and I'm loving it. I forgot how much I loved that music, and I forgot because it's like that. Like you can take the boy out of Maryland, you can't take the Maryland out of the boy. It's like I feel that same way about jam bands. Like I tried to get away from it. I tried to distance myself, and I'm like, I can't do that. It's who I am. You know what I
Right.
mean? I just can't. So at this point, I'm 46. I'm not gonna deny who I am and what I was raised on and what I learned playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's fair.
The only one that I've kind of lost, like where I used to listen to hours of it, like I used to listen to hours of Dream Theater, Steve Vai, Satriani. I can still listen to Eric Johnson, a bunch, but the other guys, I still love them. They're still amazing players, but I lost that, like, let me throw on a record and get lost in it,
Mm.
kind of thing. Um,
What did you love about those records when you did love them?
so the one I never considered myself a singer. I I was like, I'm a guitar player who can sing, but I'm not a singer. And like, doing solo acoustic gigs and fronting a trio, and I feel like there's a little bit of imposter syndrome going on,
You got a great voice, dude. You're fine.
but I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And like Fred from Cowboy Mouth has, commented on my voice, especially in sound check. We'll go from like we'll play a Hank Williams tune and I'll sing that, and then we'll do AC/DC and I'll sing like Brian, or Bon Scott, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like, "Where did that come from?" I'm like, uh,
That's what I'm saying. It's like you have all these genres swimming through your veins, dude. It's crazy.
yeah, I always was musically confused. I just still love music. There's no barrier except for Grateful Dead and
That's fine. We don't have to agree on everything.
but but I learned probably around that same time I started working with Never Never that every band has its place, and if it inspires somebody, who am I to judge anything about it? And it could be, I would hear people dog on Blink 182, and I'm like, yeah, but they write hooky songs and they're fun.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're not going to be a Petrucci playing, a million notes in 9/8 or 1916. Um, you know, and on that point, that was one of the things that I did love about Dream Theater when I got into them. Was I was getting into a lot of classical composers and pulling apart four-part harmony and understanding the composition side of things. So I liked how they would tell the story with the lyrics, but the music was something that would also tell, kind of a secondary story. And I liked how complex it was because I felt like I was getting better and I could kind of, comprehend some of it. And I liked that challenge.
How old were you at that point?
14.
Damn. Okay.
Um, I'd already been into Vi and Satriani at that point. Again, guitar players that aren't singing, they're singing the song through their guitar. So that really kind of put me in that lane. And I was always a fan of Jeff Beck. Namely because of that song Blaze of Glory by Bon Jovi.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Jeff Beck plays the solo on that.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't
And
know that.
go back and listen to it, and it's like, oh yeah,
Oh, it's
that's
pretty obvious. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I'll listen to that tomorrow
Um,
too.
but when I started seeing, videos of him and understanding, like, because growing up, we didn't have the internet. We couldn't just pull up, okay, Jeff Beck live at Ronnie Scott's, or live in the 70s, whenever, all these things were coming out. So I'd sit for hours and listen and go, how is he making that sound? How is it getting, and then come to find out it's the whammy bar, not a slide. his intonation is just that good with the trem arm. And I
Yeah.
was like, all right, so I got work to do there. And but all those guys, Vi would do it, Satriani would do it, where they'd play a melody. Both Vi and Satch have songs that they hit a harmonic and they play 5 or 6 notes in a melody just using the whammy bar.
That's so crazy.
So, I kind of got, and one thing with Dream Theater that I really liked was the unison lines between the keyboards and the guitars. Because they'd start off playing the exact same thing, and then contrary motion, they'd split off and go somewhere else to a point where like you can't tell which instrument is playing what because they kind of cross. And that's the same thing when you listen to old Beatles stuff. There's certain songs where John and Paul will sing unison and then they'll sing a harmony, but that harmony will shift and one will go up and one will go down. And the way that they composed it made it so unique to them at that time. And who's another band that does that? The Eagles. Seven Bridges Road is like a vocal masterpiece. But all that, all the Dream Theater, all the Satriani, I love the virtuosic side of it.
Right.
But also that the instruments were the focus and they could write the songs with the instrument. Now, out of all of them, I always go back to Jeff Beck just because I felt like like Blow by Blow and, Wired, those records are amazing. The songs sometimes are a little bit simpler as far as, his melodic choices. He's not trying to play a million notes. He's saying a lot with a little.
I always found him to be a little bit more soulful than those other guys.
Yeah, and that's also that shift from the 80s to the 90s. I'm a huge McCready fan.
Right.
And some of my friends that love Dream Theater are like, how can you like him? He doesn't always bend in tune. I'm like, yeah, that's why I like him.
Right? I know. It's funny as we get older and like you grew up like, worshiping McCready and then you get to a place where you're like, oh, I might be better than him on the instrument. Like I might know more or I might be able to do more than he can.
Right.
But I'll never be as good as him.
Yeah.
Because of the way that he plays, like the voracious way that he approaches the instrument and stuff. There's just like there's an elemental like primalness to the way that he plays guitar.
Yeah, there's that element of danger, right? Yeah. It's another one of my favorite players that's in Austin right now is David Grissom, who I'm sure you're familiar with.
Oh God, yeah.
Guy's just a monster. He's so good. Not only can he sing and write songs, but his instrumental songs are very vocal the way that he writes them. But I love guitar players that are going to ride that line and get tippy-toed up to that edge where they might fall off the cliff. And sometimes they do. Like, watch live performances of Jeff Beck and it's like, ooh, that didn't go the way you wanted it to. And then
you have to take those risks though. Like if you don't grow.
Exactly. And he'll look at the band and go, and keep going, right? Like,
of course. Yeah. It's just music.
And that's something I try to instill in my students is that element of take the risk, know what you're going to play, but have fun with it. Like I don't care if you're playing chromatic all the way through, just make it feel good at least,
Yeah, man. Did you get into like any of those like session players from the 80s like Landau or any of those cats? Like
okay, so that's that revelation I had when I was 13 was where I was like, okay, guys do make a living playing guitar and playing on these records. Landau and Lukather were the first two that I heard about that were doing that. I was getting Guitar Player magazine, and there was an article about the LA session scene. And they were talking about Tim Pierce,
Mhm.
Landau, Dan Huff, and Lukather. And then they also mentioned Brent Mason. So then I had to go down that rabbit hole, and there was a good year or two where I was playing with a country artist named Richie Fields.
I
That
remember that.
Yeah, I was playing with a thumb pick.
Were you really?
Yeah, because I was trying to do that that Brent Mason style guitar, um,
Interesting.
which I'm much better with the regular guitar pick.
That's a
and
di that's a different approach, dude. It's very different.
and yeah, I don't know if you know like Andy Wood.
Of
Uh,
course, yeah.
Watching him do that stuff and the way that he's so fluid and everything, and it's
I know. It's crazy to see some of these cats, and that's the best word to use. It's like there's this fluidity that happens where there are it's like speaking for them.
yeah, yeah, and
It's
it's super inspiring.
Do you know
Someone that
Dave Scher? Have you ran into Dave Scher in Austin? He's an
I
Austin cat.
I've seen him a couple times, but I haven't had a chance to meet him yet. I thought it was really funny. So Landau doesn't tour, you
Mhm.
know, except Eric Johnson somehow got him to tour.
That's awesome.
And I went down to Austin to the Paramount. It was on my birthday last or 2 years ago. 2 years ago, and Eric Johnson was the closer. They had Keith Carlock on drums, Roscoe Beck on bass.
Wow.
So like an old school kind of band for Eric, which he pulled out like Mr. PC from John Coltrane,
Man.
and like he didn't just do the Eric Johnson thing. He played a little more around with what he does. But Landau opened the show.
And played with him or just opened for him?
He came out and played a couple songs.
Okay.
But the row in front of me was David Grissom, David Scher, uh, Doyle Bromhall was there.
Of course.
It was like
Gary Clark Jr.
like there was no guitar players left in Austin that night, out gigging. They were all there watching. It was like, yeah, we've seen Eric a bunch, and it's always inspiring because he's so good, and his chord voicings. That's the thing that gets me. His speed and everything, like there's certain predictable kind of licks, like Bonamassa, kind of
Mhm.
borrows that thing. But the chord voicings, the piano style chord voicings that he puts on guitar, that's what I find really inspiring about Eric.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel the same way about Wayne Krantz. It's the
yeah.
harmony stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Mhm.
Wayne's just a monster.
Dude, did you see any of that stuff from the Ringers when it was Landau, Krantz, and Jimmy Herring?
Yeah, yeah.
What the hell, dude? Like, what a show that must have been to see. I haven't even like just stuff on YouTube, but like I can't even imagine being in the room with that noise.
It's gonna be loud.
Yeah,
I
dude.
think everyone's probably playing a 100-watt Marshall style amp at that point.
Good God, dude. You know what? Let's actually jump ship to that because this is a bunch of my subscribers are gearheads too. So like, and like, I was specifically wrote this down to talk to you about this because I've seen you with like an HX Stomp. I've seen you using some modeling stuff,
Yeah.
and I it may be an unpopular opinion for a lot of analog heads that are just like amps, tube amps only, blah blah blah. And I get that. I get the resistance to, moving into the future with guitar gear, but like when that Line 6 Stadium just came out, I was like, I think I might want to get that. Like,
Yeah, that's on my radar.
yeah.
I had the Helix, and I sold that recently. There's this band called The Lovers that opened for Cowboy Mouth quite a bit, and I was talking to the guitar player, and he's going through music school at LSU, and talking about the Helix, and he just didn't have the money at the time, and he plays all these wedding bands, and I was like, you know what? I don't use mine as often I'll sell it to you cheap. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
I know it'll get used. I do miss it because I was using it for solo acoustic gigs.
Oh,
They-
how are you using it for that?
So it's when you get into the depths of what that thing can do. And another reason why I would love the Stadium because it has an XLR input, but you can set up two completely separate lines.
Mm-hmm.
So like I had my vocal mic and my guitar both going into the Helix,
What?
and they would sum out mono, but I had a block of effects that would just affect my vocal. So I'd have my delay, a little bit of verb, compression. Um, if I had a Leslie, if I wanted to do some kind of Robert Plant kind of thing, but I'd have that, and then I'd have the guitar block with a looper and the sub octave, so you could play bass lines and just your normal what you would use on guitar effects, or
Mm-hmm.
acoustic guitar, and man, and then you're one out. So like for load-in purposes, if I was doing a smaller venue gig where I'm playing solo acoustic, I use the RCF towers. So it has a sub and a main,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one trip in, one trip out.
That's
Like
amazing, dude.
I love that. But the amp modeling in it, what I found on like the HX Stomp and the Helix and everything is if you put a compressor at the end, you can get that feel of a tube amp. It's not going to be
Mm.
perfect, you know. Um, but now, like, were the Agora or whatever they're calling the new,
Yeah, the new like algorithm stuff.
yeah, it's supposed to feel real, real. And
Yeah.
on tour, like I have this guy,
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
the Victory V4. This is the Sheriff, and it has the two notes built in
Mm-hmm.
because we use in ears.
Yeah, that's dope.
I was getting tired of. I had my pedal board, and we would backline. I like a Fender Deluxe Reverb. You really can't mess that up.
Right.
I know what it's going to do 9 times out of 10, but then we started getting some really dogged ones.
Mm.
And I was like, all right, well, and I had one go out on a show and I had to plug my pedal board direct into the PA. Yeah. And it's like, all right. So I found this because when we were using our own gear, I have it back here, but I got the PRS HDRX 20.
Oh yeah, that's a good amp, man.
Yeah, because our singer is the drummer, but he sets up front.
Mm-hmm.
So like the amps are behind him, not slightly in front of him. So I needed something that I could hear on stage, but not kill him. And even with the 20 watt, it was loud, and I just kicked it more towards stage left, towards off stage, so it wasn't a direct assault on him, but he could hear pitch. But I'd mix that with either a Vox or a Fender,
Mm.
and then have a couple stomp boxes. But then we went to the just doing everything fly rigs, and I was like, all right, well, I want to be able to do that. So I was traveling with this, and then their Duchess, because then I have my Marshall and the Fender.
Yeah, that's dope.
And that worked for a while. We'd get like a Marshall 412 cab, and I'd just have one of them going through the cab and one going direct,
Mm.
and we'd mix them in. And then I was like, all right, I was bringing an extra case for that. I was like, let me downsize more so I'm not carrying, because I'm also in charge of the merch. So
Mm.
I'm toting at least 2 cases of merch, my personal bag, 2 guitars, a pedal board. And I was like, how do I shrink this down even more? And that's when I started using the HX Stomp. It was already on my board just as modulation and delay.
Mm-hmm.
And I got in set up some different things with Fenders and Marshalls, and I was like, it gets the job done. There's an adjustment period to it,
For
where
sure.
you have to, yeah, you play a little bit different. It's going to break up differently when lay into your guitar. Um, where the 800s, like that one on the bottom, I've had since I was 16.
Whoa.
All my friend and that cabinet as well. All my friends were getting Mesa Boogie and PRS, and I couldn't afford that.
Right.
And I got that half stack for $600.
Really? Dude,
And
how much of like your gear stuff from when you were young have you kept? Is it just a few pieces, or have you been like, I've kept it all? Like,
I have quite a bit. I have a problem.
well, good for you, man. Cause like there's stuff I've sold that I wish I didn't, you know what I mean? Cause I had to if I wanted to get this new thing, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's always the game is, I've sold quite a bit of guitars. Like my first
That's hysterical.
Mark gonna go digital.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not fully, but at some point. Anyway, continue.
The yeah, I have a boudoir that
Yeah,
I've
oh, yeah.
had since I was 16.
Dang.
Because I met Jeff when I started, sneaking into the horse he came in on to help Never Never on Tuesdays.
Mhm.
And I had my PV Classic 50. That was the first real tube amp I ever bought.
Me too, brother.
With 410s and the tweed.
Yep.
And I was like, it's close enough to a bassman like McCready,
Mhm.
and I would mix it with the Marshall.
Mm.
Because I thought it just looked cool. And I didn't know much about like really blending the amps, but I was like, that's what these guys are doing.
Mhm.
But with that said, I have a boudoir that's been on my pedal board since then. Because
Dude.
Jeff fixed that. I was playing a Bel Air community jazz gig. Um, and the fan seized up. All those old PBs had the fans that cooled the tubes.
Mhm.
And the fan seized up and caught fire on a jazz gig of all things, So
That's great.
so he fixed that and we started talking and he was telling me about Buddha and I bought that wah pedal, and it's come off the board once or twice, but it always goes right back on because it sounds amazing.
I have one too, man. It's right in the drawer right there. Actually, I just got a new wah and I spent more money than I probably would want to usually spend on a wah pedal, but I bought that jam pedal Wacko.
Oh yeah.
The thing is awesome, dude. I mean, it's the thing that I like about it is this. So I have the boudoir, which I love because it's very vocal like, and there's no Q knobs or anything to worry about. It's just it is what it is. Like you
Right.
get what you get, you don't get upset. And then I bought that exotic wah that's like the 3/4 size because I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I can fit that on a board easier, and that's pretty good too. I like it, but then I was like, it's got too many bells and whistles on it. So like I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna do is like I'm just gonna go for it. Everyone says that jam wah is so good.
Nice.
And I bought it and I got it last week and I was like, whoa, yeah, this is like what I've been looking for. Like, because it's got one Q knob and they're just presets.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it goes from the first one is when you have all of your high end, and as you back it off, you just start to lose the high end. So it sounds more like a barf than it does you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I like that. I like that weird barfy wah sound too.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got
That's great.
sidetracked, but like that's another great wah. So
That's awesome.
yeah, man.
It's funny, man. The old stuff always sounds cool, and they just modify the old stuff a little bit and make it cooler.
Yep.
But like talking about the digital, I was thinking about that comment. Like my rig now, I stopped using the HX for the amps and have the UA Dream 65.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Man, it feels so close to a real Fender.
Yeah.
that I'm super and it hits the pedals really well. Because I always like a little bit of breakup. Like my clean sounds never truly clean.
Mhm.
Um, I could get away with playing a gig on a deluxe reverb, like something that's a higher gain, quote unquote, a higher gain gig. I would just dime a deluxe reverb and you know roll down for cleans. Um, but that thing is great. And then the whole digital world, I didn't want to get into it, but it's really good. And
Mhm.
what I would do with the Helix sometimes, if I was using a tube amp, I would set up a preset that would have a line with a digital amp that would house like my delays and verbs and stuff and do a wet dry rig. So
Ooh.
where it would split out and that the amp modeling with the cab sim and everything would go to front of house. And then the dry signal that would just have a couple drives and a and maybe some modulation like a phaser or something because I like a phaser in front of the amp, in
Mhm.
front of my distortion. Um, so I would do that and have a pseudo wet dry rig that, you know, if something failed, if a tube amp failed, I hit one button and it's just the Helix.
That's pretty clever, man.
And
Like, that especially for someone like you who's actually on stage touring and doing that thing, like, that's a great way to kind of marry both worlds and, like, be safe at the same
yeah,
time. Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, the stadium looks really good, dude. It just I mean, every video that I've seen with that, like, focus button, how you can, like, move to find, like, kinda
yeah,
in between presets where your ear kinda likes it, that's really rad. Um, and, like, that alone, plus, like, all of the actual amps that are in there, and, like, I've like, the Andertons video that was just up, like, 2 days ago or whatever, um, there's the Marshall stuff sounded so good, it had that, like, Hendrixy throatiness to it. I was like, "Dang, that's the sound. That is
right,
the
yeah.
Strat sound." Do you know what I mean?
And, Rhett Shull's videos on it
I
have been
haven't seen those yet. Okay.
they're pretty inspiring because he's analog. He's done the digital thing because part of it's the creator being a YouTube creator, but also being a gearhead and going, okay, what makes this stuff cool to people? And he gets out and he uses that stuff. But he's taken the HX or the Helix Stadium stuff. Um, he's doing like an 80s style gig where
That's
yeah,
awesome.
he's like, I can just do everything here.
Yeah.
And it's pretty awesome. But I don't I'm gonna talk about it and I'll take lashings if it comes to it. But we played with Pearl Jam over this summer. We did Jazz Fest in New Orleans with them.
Mhm.
And I was trying to find I have a pair of I fanboyed pretty hard. I have a set of Matt Cameron's drumsticks.
Hell
I
yeah.
have um I have all of Mike
Last
McCready.
tour too, his last tour.
Yeah, yeah, it was crazy.
Mhm.
Um I have all of Mike McCready's picks because there's a set, that's spelled out Mike. And
Uh,
on the back it has like this spatial kind of artwork. Um didn't get to meet the guys. They don't for a festival like that, they don't their crew is so dialed in
mhm.
that and nothing changes rig wise that they run a show from the night before or whatever and tune the PA to that.
Right.
And then their techs all get up and play to make sure everything on stage is live and working the way it's supposed to. Um,
And Mike's using a Tone Master, isn't he?
he's
Yeah.
using Fractal. He's using an Axe Effects into those tone masters because it's the FRFR.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's literally just a clean power amp with a 12-inch speaker so he can hear what's going on.
That's so cool.
Um,
I
and
mean,
it's
it's good enough
it's
for Mike.
Yeah, and it sounded like every record, you know, like,
Yep.
um, and that was the thing. Like his guitar tech was telling me, uh, coming out of COVID, they were starting to do some stuff, and uh, his guitar tech told he's like, Mike, you know, if you go this route, you can have your Marshall, you can have your Fenders, you can have your Vox. He's like, whoa, whoa. So I could play like it. I use a 57 champ on this solo, and I could have a 57 champ when we play live. And he's like, yeah, man,
So cool.
let's do it.
I'm gonna do it, man. Oh god, I think I need to do it because you know what would be cool is to go to the Cat's Eye and like just run that into the PA
Yeah,
and have a monitor on stage. You know what I mean? Like and like because that load in. First of all, parking in Fells now sucks ass. Like it's the worst since the Pendry and all that stuff.
right. Yeah,
Since COVID, but like it would be cool to roll into the Admiral's Cup or whatever. Like Todd Miller did it. Like
yeah.
he had like a what was he? Was he using a fractal or he was using something like a
He
head
was,
rush?
he was using a Helix.
Oh, okay.
So Todd and I both auditioned for uh, the Amish Outlaws,
Mm-hmm.
and Todd got it, and I actually took his gig with Millennium, the weddings and events band that he was playing with, and left to do the Amish Outlaws. So like that whole we all come back around to each other. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Island and Matt Jones have both been part of Cowboy Mouth as either hired guns or full time members.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and that's how I played with Jimmy's Chicken Shack was through those guys. So like, it's pretty cool, like the community that we have in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Todd was calling me and asking me questions about the Helix, and he's like, "I just can't get these sounds." And he came over to my house and we sat down for a few hours and tweaked his Helix to where he liked it, and he went and did his own thing.
Man, I mean, it's just so convincing now. It's gotten so good. That's the thing. It's just like it really is just way better than it was even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it
And
just is. Oh, what's this? Let me pull this up real quick. Comes down to the budget and convenience. The economy isn't what it used to be decades ago, and costs are just going up. Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing, man. I'll be completely, honest. Like, this Two Rock, like, I love that amp. Like,
right.
I don't want to take that to the Cat's Eye.
Yeah.
I just don't feel super duper comfortable taking that downtown.
And
But
unstable power, you're dealing with all kinds of different elements, and then lugging it around, that's the other thing, the convenience of it.
right.
Um, and even like the budget stuff that's out now, like I've done some gigs with the Head Rush, the one that's like $400 or $500, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds great.
Dang. Okay.
And what because that's the old 11 rack, if you remember those.
Yeah, the Avid stuff.
Yeah, they did a great job with that. I used to use the 11 rack in the studio all the time just for that convenience. I was
Mm-hmm.
doing remote sessions, and I was living in a condo, so I couldn't crank up a Marshall or a Fender to where it's that pleasing to break up.
Right.
But like, I'm trying to think if there's anything back there. But pushing air, there's nothing like an amp pushing air. That East amp I've had since Jeff started that company.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 18 watts and I can't play it anywhere. It's
Yeah.
that loud.
Yeah.
And
Is it Class A?
I think it's AB. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
I have to open it up and look at it again. But and I actually have next to it that little brown amp that's in front of or behind the bass.
Can kind of see it. Yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
that's also a Jeff Bober special that I think there's only two in existence.
Okay.
I think I have one and he has one.
Oh.
Because coming out of COVID, he was doing so much repair work that And the cost of parts and the time and promotion and putting it in stores and all that stuff. I think he just decided, he'll make amps again when he's ready.
Mhm.
But that thing's only 18 watts. And you want to talk about some of the best structure. It's volume, bass, treble. That's it. But he put a six-way attenuator on it.
Mm.
And it goes from 18 down to 9, down to 6, down to 4, down to 1.
Mhm.
And there's a 2 watt and a 1 watt. And that used to be my Voxy amp with Cowboy Mouth. I'd have it on 2 watts, and the band's like, "Are you serious? Like, that's 2 watts?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. Can't really go down anymore."
Right. Dude,
um,
it's crazy too to like be in this town and to have both Jeff Bober and Mark Bartel
yeah,
in Baltimore is so random. Like,
there's something special in the Baltimore DC area for manufacturers and or amp builders. I mean, look at Paul Reed Smith. When you get
right.
to the boutique guitar stuff, and just where they started and where they are now. Jeff, when he had Buddha, how big they got before PV destroyed them.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's a shame.
the Bartel, when he started Tone King, those first runs of the Imperial,
Oh, dude, that amp is glorious.
it's one of the best amps I've ever played. Fender style amps, that had a tweed and a black bass in it.
Mhm.
I mean, it was amazing. And now he's making the Bartel amps, right?
Yeah, oh, dude, and they're really good too.
And
And I have an actual he let me borrow like a year ago. I still have it. I ran into him. I was like, dude, I gotta give you the amp back. He's like, yeah, whatever. Just keep it for a little while longer. But he let me borrow the Sky King
oh,
amp. That was like his original Tone King Sky King. And that amp is just I just leave it in the practice room and I just plug into that when we practice. And I don't even need a pedal board. It's just like the overdrive channel with that new Les Paul that I got. Forget about it, dude. That's all I need is to plug straight into that thing.
oh, that's awesome.
It's killer. But I'm like, it's just so cool. Like people don't realize how rad the music scene is in Baltimore.
Yeah,
And it's not a city that's on the map for music. It's on the map for other things like The Wire. But it's so great. And it's like it's a shame. I feel like if I had not been married and a dad, like we probably would have hung out a lot more when you lived here. But being a dad and being like busy all the time with family
yeah,
stuff, it was hard for me to like it was hard for me, even though I played down there a lot. It was hard for me to assimilate into the lifestyle and scene down there just because I
right,
was just had to get up and go to work and then like get my kid on the bus. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
And I got lost in that scene as far as I've been I'm heading on 7 years of sobriety, so like
congrats. Yeah, I was gonna say that. Like I know that you've been working hard with that stuff.
I got lost in that sauce, and it wasn't all the time, but there was times that I was not happy with my playing, but also how I acted and treated people, and um, I never really saw a dip in work or anything that much, but you know, it's still there's things said, and you feel better when you're not doing it.
Hey man, and here's the thing. I feel like we all live and we grow and we learn.
Yeah,
And I think everybody is entitled to make mistakes. Everybody is entitled to have a bad day. And at the end of the day, like your character stands as it is now, as you're like, I'm sober, I'm good, I'm healthy, I feel good about life, and that's
I,
all that matters.
I was one of the first people. Like, if I made a mistake, I would apologize very quickly.
Right.
um, I knew I was like, "Ooh, yeah, that was dumb, dumb, dumb,
Yeah.
dumb." But it grows your character and everything, and um, so yeah, just that whole idea of I gotten calls from people like, "How did you do it? How did you
Mm,
decide not to drink anymore and go right back to those same places that you were?"
yeah.
and play for 4 hours. And when people are drinking and everything, I wanted to change.
Mm,
I wanted something better for me and the people around me.
man,
And
it's respectable, Frankie.
been very fortunate in that. And
Yeah.
so, but not to get all somber and introspective on it, but
No, man, no, I think it's helpful. And dude, I think, I went to the beach this past weekend with my best friend, and we both lost our dads within a couple years of each other. And there's a couple of us, a couple of the other guys couldn't come this time, but we call it the Dudes Without Dads Club. And we go down to the beach in the winter, like once a year, just to kind of have like a mental health get together, laugh, talk about stuff that we can't talk about with our spouses that
right,
they don't understand, there's that father son thing that I mean, I didn't realize how close I was with my dad until I lost my dad.
right,
Like there's like always this thing. I've talked to so many people about like dominant parents, and I think my brother and my sister for such a long time were like, "You're such a mama's boy," because I always wanted to sit next to my mom at dinner when I was little. But like when I lost my dad, I was like, he was my parent. He was my go-to parent. And it's weird when the absence is there. So like I get it. Like you have to have it's this is stuff that we need to talk about more. It's not
right,
stigmatized. It's good to talk about sobriety. It's good to talk about like understanding the drink is not good for you.
right.
It's good to talk about loss and about, losing someone that you love that meant so much to you that every day you wake up, you think about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I think this is all important stuff for men in particular to be okay to be vulnerable with.
yeah. I agree.
So it's just, times are changing, man. And I think for the better in terms of like, I think our mental health is, in terms of like awareness, I think it's changing and for the better,
Absolutely. It's not having to be stoic all the time and understanding, that side of it. Um, and like there's healthier coping mechanisms that are being put into place. Because that was my escape. Like that was why I was doing it. I had to face that
Mm-hmm.
and understand that. And a bad night, you just go to the bottle, and because that gets rid of it for the moment. And
Mm-hmm.
which it never really truly did because you think about it more sometimes
I bet.
and you're in this weird, drowning state of it. And but yeah, and I saw too many friends go down the path and had some deaths due to, overdoses and everything. And it puts a lot of different things in perspective.
Oh yeah.
And so I opened myself up to when I felt a little bit more comfortable talking about it, that that's when I started really getting people calling that were in the Fells Point scene.
Mm-hmm.
And abroad, but like that was one of the things. And I'd go into bars when I first quit, and they'd put down my beer of choice and shot as soon as I walked in, and I had to be like, I'll take a seltzer water with lime,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good, man. I think it's great. And I mean, there's it's hard, like you said, it's hard to be in a scene that like that is what goes on. Like
yeah,
you're just immersed in that. And I think that there's in particular there's a level of drunkenness in Fells Point when you're a musician down there talking to patrons that you're just like, oh God. It makes me feel ill to see people that drunk. Like
yeah,
makes me uncomfortable to talk to him because I'm like, I have nothing to talk to you about. Like, okay, cool. And secondly, I'm like, you are literally making me feel ill seeing how drunk you are. Like, you're not gonna feel good tomorrow, and I might not when I wake up because I have like these sympathy pains for you.
right, yeah,
Oh god damn, dude, it's crazy. Well, I think, man, I'm just really happy. Seems like you're in a really good place, dude. In life. So that's great.
we're doing awesome, man.
Good.
And someday, like, I actually want to get you on a track on my new record. I've talked about it before, but like, I have a couple songs that having you we can talk more about it. But it'd be cool to get you to collaborate on it. And
Heck yeah, man, I'm
um,
down.
it's an instrumental record, and there's only a couple songs left. So finally doing it. I've been talking about it for years.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it years ago. Yeah, I'm down. Let me know, man. Well,
So,
let's do the lightning round get down because
okay.
I don't want to take up your whole evening here. And I'm going to put on a metronome and we're going to fly at an altitude of about a 112 BPM. Here we go, just for some suspense. I'm going to ask you 10 questions, Frankie.
Okay.
If you want, you can explain your answers. You do not have to, but I'm always open to answers.
Okay.
All right. First question is always the same. Lennon or McCartney?
McCartney.
Vox or Marshall?
Marshall.
Coated or uncoated electric guitar strings?
Recently coated. The D'Addario X series are really good. They feel almost like an uncoated string.
Okay, cool. Goldfish or Cheez-Its?
Whew, that's a hard one. I'm gonna go Cheez-Its.
Okay. Telly or 335?
Telly.
Highway to Hell or Back in Black? The albums.
The albums, Back in Black.
Okay. Back to the Future 1 or Back to the Future 2?
1.
Okay. And on that tip, okay, so if you had to fight one of these movie villains, who would you rather take on? Biff Tannen from Back to the Future or Johnny Lawrence from Karate Kid?
Johnny Lawrence.
He's a dick.
Yeah.
All right, Fuzzface or Tone Bender?
Fuzzface.
Okay.
Oh wait, are we talking germanium or silicone?
Whatever you prefer.
All right, yeah, Fuzzface.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a Fuzzface dude. All right, and here's the last one. If you could take one album, it doesn't have to be your favorite album of all time, but if you could take one record and erase it from your memory, just so you can go back and experience it for the first time again, what album would that be?
Are You Experienced?
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Just everything on that record, the way that, the tones, the backwards guitar, all the different Eddie Kramerisms that are in there, and just rediscovering Hendrix's songwriting. That's one of his masterpieces. It's so well put together.
Yeah, I agree. Dude, I found that on vinyl. I found a super early pressing of that for like $20. And I was like, do they not know what this is? Or is it completely scratched to hell? And I was like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm just going to buy it. I'm just going to take it home. And if anything else, if it's all scratched up, I will frame the album. You know what I mean? It was totally fine. And it sounded great. And I was like, holy shit. And I don't play it that much. I kind of keep it, in the sleeve and stuff. But like, that was a grab. I got that, and the same day I got Robert Palmer, Sneaking Sally Through the Alley, and that was like $10.
What?
And I was like, whoever's running this record shop is a freaking moron. And I was like, snagged.
Right.
So, oh my god, dude. All right, so Frankie, tell everybody what's going on with Cowboy Mouth and like where you're going to be on the road and everything. I'm going to pop your links up on the screen here so people can see those. Thanks, BV, for moderating the chat and everything, dropping these in here.
Thank you. So Cowboy Mouth, we released a new record in August that's available on vinyl. So shameless plug, makes a great Christmas gift. But I'm heading to the studio this week to start working on some new songs that are going to be released in 2026.
Oh, cool.
So, we have that show in Biloxi, Mississippi coming up December 19th. And then we're also part of the Big Easy Cruise with Samantha Fish and Anders Osborne, Trombone Shorty, and Galactic.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's going to be rad.
I'm trying to work out to play a song with Stanton Moore at some point,
Oh, dude, hell yeah. Is Lowercase Blues on that? Do you know those guys?
I have to double check. I'm not 100% sure.
They're Rehoboth dudes. They're
Yeah.
they've been doing pretty well over the past whatever 10 years. I mean, definitely down on the shore, they
Right.
pack houses, but them and like Sweet Lita, like that whole Annapolis crew,
Yeah.
they're always playing together.
Yeah.
So
I think Ricky Wise plays with them every once in a while, doesn't he?
Ricky just played with him Saturday when I was at the beach. I went to see him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, no, they're great. Their drummer Tristan Gilbert. Did you ever play with Tristan?
No, I never met Tristan.
He played with Ruben for a little while.
Okay.
I think post Skirba, maybe. I don't know
Okay.
if it was pre or post Skirba. Maybe post Skirba, but like Tristan's been playing with me too. But Tristan plays a lot with lowercase,
Oh, that's awesome.
and those guys are good. And that dude Jake, the guitar player, talk about a guy that understands how to use the bar. Like you can tell he's a big Jeff Beck fan.
That's awesome.
Great tone, and dude's not like a super gearhead. He's got like I think he might have like a DeVille or like the Mike Landau DeVille, and then has like just like the D&M drive, the Keeley D&M drive, and like a delay pedal or something. That's it. Like
Straight to the point. I love that.
not me. I'm a nerd. I got a whole board. I just built a whole board.
That's
Oh
yeah.
god.
I have all this stuff. Every once in a while, I have a 58 Tweed Deluxe that I'll just plug into and turn it up. And that's it. That's all I could live with that amp. And
Oh
that
yeah. Just ride your volume on your instrument. Does it clean up when you roll back?
it does. Yeah. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome.
That or I'll put this one pedal in front of it. This
What
is
is that?
that's my holy grail fuzz now. It's do you know Owen Barry?
No.
A hit to that guitar player. He played for Tal Wilkenfeld for a while,
Mm,
and now he's playing with the Chicks.
okay.
But basically, he took his favorite fuzz face. He found temperature stable germanium diodes, and rebuilt a fuzz face and put like a bias feature on it, which
Cool.
does the obvious thing. It'll make it sputter really, really bad. And then this, when you roll it back, it turns more into an overdrive. But the idea
Ooh.
was have a fuzz that works well with humbuckers.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one that does it.
What's the company?
It's OTB. It's Owen Barry.
Okay.
I'll send you a link.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to check that out.
But man, yeah, I love guys that can just plug guitar one or two pedals or no pedals and just let it ride all day.
That's what I did when I was in Boston. I had a twin reverb, and I took 2 of the power tubes out, and
Nice.
not that that made it any lighter, but I used to just take that and like a stock Dunlop fuzz face and just leave it on the whole time and just roll my volume back. So
There's something magical about your clean tone with single coils when you have a fuzz face on all the time.
yeah,
Right?
100%.
Yeah, and I mean Hendrix wouldn't have had that sparkling clean if it wasn't for that.
Yep, 100%.
So
Dang. That's awesome.
Love
Frankie, dude, thank you so much for hanging out with me and doing this. So like I said, I'm sorry it took so long for us to get together to do this. We shouldn't, wait too long until between the next time we talk. That's for sure.
Absolutely, Mark. Man, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course, buddy. So hang out one second. Everybody else, thanks for stopping by. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll see you next time.